Hi, everyone, and welcome to OSU OKC's first ever Orange Slice podcast. We are happy to bring this podcast to you. We hope to entertain you. We hope to enlighten you about what OSU OKC has to offer, not only for future students, but current students that are here on campus, and also for those who may have stopped going to school for one reason or another and want to come back. OSU OKC is a great place for everyone to come and get their degree and then move on to a four-year degree to better their future and their career. So again, this podcast, we hope to do it weekly. We're glad to have you along. Today, our first ever guest is going to be Hadley Griffith. She is our coordinator of student life. Hadley, welcome to our first ever podcast. I'm excited.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I hope I'm really setting the stage, and everyone else who's after me, this is it.
Yes.
This is what you have to talk. Yeah, so this will be fun.
Our crew has done a great job at designing our set and everything else that goes along with it. So we're very excited to have you and the podcast with OSU OKC.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to sharing more about my story, how I came to OSU OKC, but also more importantly, what's student life like on campus? How can our students get involved, and what does OSU OKC look like for them?
So your position here is coordinator of student life. So tell me what exactly that means.
Absolutely. So when you think of the student life office, typically free food and music, we're somewhere close by.
Everyone loves free food, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's my goal. My goal in my position is to create a home for our students. So whatever that home, that community looks like for our students. So that comes in a variety of leadership programs, student organizations, student scholarships, and also community service and community engagement. So think Student Parent Association, Black Student Association, Hispanic Student Association, Chess Club, Dungeons and Dragons Club, whatever that community looks like to students, that's my role, is how do I connect students to that opportunity?
So let's talk about the student per se for OSU OKC. I know you see hundreds, thousands of students every semester. Who is a typical student that comes to this university?
One of the things I love most about OSU OKC is there isn't a typical student. I would say most of our students look different. And that's how it should be. OSU OKC is such an individualized experience. The average age of our student population is 26, but I'd say we hit the range from 18 to 80. Education is for everybody, and OSU OKC really encompasses that. And I think it's really important that our student life also encompasses that. So when we look at student events, student clubs, what do our students want? We really try to have a variety to meet that need of our students. So a lot of working students, accommodating lunch schedules. If they're working full time, how do we do things like that? But also keeping some of the traditional excitement around. We just had our first OSU OKC homecoming activities and celebrations, trunk or treats. I mean, we want it to be fun here. We want people to step on campus and immediately get that cowboy feeling of, I'm home. This is where I want to be. Right.
And we'll talk about that more here in just a bit. But a very diverse background of our student population, like you talked about. We have a lot of first-time students just out of high school who are looking to maybe the big four-year university like in Stillwater. OSU is not the place for them to start school. They can finish there, of course. Absolutely. So a place like here is a great place for them to start.
Absolutely. We're a launching ground. I like to say, we're kind of the diving board into higher education, to your career. This is such a great, comfortable place to start. You really are going to get a lot of that individualized attention. What I always like to say is, when you walk into OSU OKC, we know the student's name. Because we're a smaller campus, we really get to know them in that intimate setting, and it's just a special relationship that staff, faculty, and students get to have due to the nature of our university.
And I think faculty-to-student ratio is probably good for those students coming out of high school that aren't ready for the four-year university. I went to a big-time university out of high school. I had 500 students in my class alone, and you're just a number. Here, you are with faculty who are actually going to know your name and can help you through whatever issues you have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's one of the things I've loved the most through my position is really getting to make those connections for students. But I also think it really sets them up, whatever their unique career path is, what is their goal in education, we can help situate them for that because we really get to know them. If they want to go on, get their bachelor's degree, their master's degree, we know that, and we know how to connect them to opportunities. Or if they want to finish here and then immediately enter the workforce, we want to help with that too, and we will.
Of course, the Workforce University. We're going to get to a lot more later on, but we want to talk about your story because you have such a unique story.
Absolutely.
Your mom has a unique story. So tell us your story, how you got to OSU OKC, and actually the position that you're in now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's such a fun story and something I love to share. I'm sure my fellow employees are probably tired of hearing it,
No, we're not.
But it's so unique. So I was born and raised on a cattle ranch in rural Oklahoma. So from an early age, kind of an emphasis on community. Wasn't really sure what higher education would look like for me. But my parents were first generation college students. And so really that was an expectation of education. How do I continue this cycle, and something that my parents opened the door for? I actually continued at Oklahoma State University in Stillwater. So go Pokes, I bleed orange, so OSU has always kind of been something special to me. I graduated with a hospitality and tourism management degree.
Wow.
It's kind of a mouthful.
That's different, yes.
Yeah, it's different, but really it was event planning, wine tastings. My friends were doing research projects and I was comparing bottles of wine. So I think I had the best college experience of all.
Yeah, sounds great.
And so when really looking for what does my future look like, I wanted to stay in that college space. I was so inspired by professors, faculty, and staff who really poured into me. I wanted a similar experience. And so I went back to my parents, kind of I think every college student does, and said, Mom, Dad, I don't know what I want to do. What do you think? These are my ideas. I want to work in higher education. I want to create impactful experiences for others. And my mom said, well, when I was pregnant with you, I worked at OSU OKC. And I was like, I think I remember that. So my mom was the director of student activities, which is the old name for the student life office here at OSU OKC. I was a preemie baby, so she went home for lunch one day, had me, and has been a stay-at-home mom ever since.
Oh, wow.
So it's definitely very special for us because it was her last professional setting. But so when I saw an OSU OKC student life position come available, it was something that I had some experience with because I had someone to ask about. What does this look like? And I thought it really combined a lot of my skills. So I submitted an application and thought, we'll see, we'll see. And obviously it's worked out, and I've loved my tenure here time at OSU OKC, but I've gotten to work, where my mom worked. I'm getting to meet several people who were here when my mom actually worked here. And it's really cool to have that special connection and that link.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I'm sure the offices have changed just a bit from when your mom was here. But when you walk into the office and you're holding the same position that your mom held, not a lot of people can say that.
Not a lot. And I think it's a legacy. It's a pride, and it's such a special connection from, I go home from work and I want to call my mom on the drive home and say, guess what I did today? I helped with this student club, or I helped with this scholarship. And she can say, well, back in my day, we did this and this, and have you talked to this department about this? So it truly has been special, and something I'll always be grateful to get to share.
And you are a great example of someone who started their school here, went to Stillwater to finish, and now you're going beyond and getting your master's, correct? That's correct.
Graduating in May.
Wow.
So, fingers crossed, I'm saying it, I'm putting it into existence.
I had 4 years and I was done. I'm not going back.
Yes.
This is as far as I'm going back working now.
Absolutely. So I'm getting my degree in higher education. So
nice.
And my emphasis is in adult learners, so non-traditional populations and 2-year institutions. So it really has been applicable to the work that I do here at OSU OKC.
So let's go back to your job per se. Let's talk about some of the student organizations here. First, let's talk about campus life. People will say, a lot of students who are looking at OSU OKC will say, well, they don't have a football team, of course. We do. It's in Stillwater. We obviously. But what kind of student life do we have on campus that can get students excited, prospective students excited to come here?
Absolutely. Well, one, I want to say, I don't think everyone knows, you can get the student tickets to our football team in Stillwater. Exactly. So take advantage of that opportunity. But our clubs look different. Our student events look different, but that doesn't mean they're not just as exciting. I think our events are a little more impactful and a little more specialized to how do we connect you to your little pocket of OSU OKC or your little pocket of the world. But of course, large scale events. One of my favorite events we just had is called Discovery Day. And what that is aimed for is current students and potential students. So anyone listening who's not enrolled at OSU OKC, come to Discovery Day. We'd love to have you. And we have food trucks. We have representatives from every academic division, academic school available. All the staff come in, and it's a day of free t-shirts, free goodies, and how do we connect you to resources on campus? And I think that's really exciting. But aside from that, we have speech contests, scary storytelling contests. We had a fashion show yesterday. I have never been in a fashion show, certainly. I don't know if you can tell by my 5-foot stature, but it's really, really cool to see what our students can put together. And I think one of the unique advantages of maybe an older student body, or kind of just more comfortable in their career, is they know how to put together an event, you know? So when we're going, we're not, I mean, they really get to do it big and do it exactly how they want it and how to coordinate really well together.
Sure. What is probably the biggest question that you get in your position?
Oh gosh, one of the biggest is always what scholarships are available, you know, or is there student life on campus? Those are probably my top two biggest questions that I get. And what I always like to say is, yes, get involved, get connected. That is the best way to ensure that you can have the most access to scholarships, because our scholarships are an application based.
Sure.
But there is a centralized location for all of our scholarships. And we have millions of dollars of scholarships. We want to provide that to students. And certainly some of those are directly related to clubs and organizations and specific pockets of people. But yeah, I think student life, to answer the other question, is we have it, we want it, and we want to continue to grow it. I think college students everywhere, we live in this post-COVID, post-online world. And so we're returning to campus, and we're returning to campus in droves, you know, or droves, or whatever that word is. But we want to see more students, and we're always open to new events and new ideas of how to bring student life to what our students want.
So we have about a minute left. Tell me, spring enrollment is coming up. So what's the easiest way for students to get involved or to enroll?
Absolutely. Visit our website or ask a staff
we'll
or faculty member.
Soon,
and we're having a new website soon. So follow us on social media, get connected with us across all different platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Our application link will be everywhere. But if you have any questions, please reach out to someone connected to OSU OKC, because we want to help you. And I hope you find your home here.
Yeah, great. Well, Hadley, great to have you as our first guest on Orange Slice.
Thank you.
It was awesome. You did awesome. You do awesome in your position, and you are great for this university. Really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me.
All right, Hadley Griffith, our coordinator of student life here at OSU OKC. Thanks for joining us on our first edition. We will be back next week with more of Orange Slice.